Hello everyone, I'm Rodney from 3dgamingman.com, and today I'm looking at the BitFenix Neos Case. Now this is a mid-tower case. It's mainly comprised of steel and plastic, some mesh on the front panel here. Now this comes in a slew of different color options, both the main part of the case and the mesh. And I'll go through now some of the color options on the screen so you can really get a case that best suits your particular color theme, whatever you like, whether it be black, white, blue, and so on. Now this is an affordable mid-tower case, but if you are on a budget, it does give you some color options as well. I think the styling on it is quite elegant. Now it measures in at 185 by 429 by 470 millimeters, and it weighs in at a super lightweight 4.4 kilograms. That's under 10 pounds. So if you're looking for a fairly compact, simple, affordable mid-tower case, well, continue to watch this video. At the top is the power button and reset button. And by the way, these switches are quality. As well, two audio jacks. One is for the microphone and the other the headphones. You've got two LEDs, one for power and the other hard drive activity, and two USB ports. One is a USB 2 port and the other a USB 3 port. The front is all mesh, and at the top there are two 5.25-inch drive bays, while at the bottom, well, there's their logo. Plus on the inside here, you've got space to install two optional 120mm fans. The front panel can be very easily removed by pulling at the bottom, and note that it is completely separate. There's no cables or anything else attached to it, so that's a good thing. Now once you remove it, you will see a dust filter, and of course that's for the two optional fans you can install at the front of the case. They have a thin layer of black foam, and it's actually sandwiched between the outside mesh and the inside part of the front panel. Now this is going to get dirty, of course, when the fan or fans intake cool air. And to clean it, well, I guess you can take it off and, blow it out, but you can't easily remove this foam because, again, it's sandwiched. You could, I guess, but look at all these different tabs that hold this mesh part on. I mean, it's not practical. Also, the same foam is in the drive bay covers. The plain looks of this case continue on the right side panel. Nothing going on here. At the back of the case, at the very top, they include two rubber grommeted holes. These are for routing cables and or water cooling tubes through. Here is where you would install the motherboard's I/O shield plate. They include a 120mm exhaust fan, 7 expansion slots, and an expansion slot cover. This is kind of just to disguise basically the ugliness of the end. So when you install all your cards in here, you can just put this cover on over it. Let's hope it goes back very easily. There you go. At the bottom, you can install a standard ATX power supply, and there are 4 thumb screws, 2 on each side panel. Included on the inside is a bag, and in it is a user's manual, some cable ties, an expansion slot cover, and screws, like for example for installing the drives and the motherboard, and so on. Now, this case fits mini ATX, micro ATX, and standard ATX form factor motherboards. And as you can see, you can install a number of drives here, up to 3 2.5-inch drives and up to 3 3.5-inch drives. And to install them, all you would need to do is just pinch here at the front, take this out, the tray, and then in the case of 2.5-inch drives, just use the included screws to install those. But for 3.5-inch drives, just simply slip the drive in, and it's a toolless operation. And it looks like this expands, and yes, it does. That's very convenient. Do that, expand it, put the drive in, and then slide it back. Oh, and by the way, if you're thinking that you can remove these drive cages, I'm sorry, you can't. They are riveted into place. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are 2 external 5.25-inch drive bays. There is another one here at the top. You could probably use this maybe for a water cooling reservoir or something like that and push it in from the back. There is no slot on the front. And by the way, these are of a toolless design. Now, being a mid-tower case, of course, you're not going to have a tremendous amount of room to work on the inside. And unfortunately, like most cases these days, the motherboard tray is not removable. But note that on the motherboard tray, there is a mammoth huge hole, and that is for the cooler's retention plate, plus there are a number of cable management holes for organizing the cables. However, there is only just a few millimeters of space behind the motherboard tray and the right side panel, so you're not going to be able to tuck a lot of stuff back there. Of course, here is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed, but note that they do not include any rubber rests for the power supply to lodge on. Now that the fan lead is just hanging here, I will address this. It does come with a 3-pin connector, and the lead itself is quite nice. It's a flat, flexible black cable. With the right side panel removed, have a look behind the motherboard tray. Again, you've got a number of punch outs here for routing cables. Also a hole here for routing another cable or cables through. The hole for the cooler's retention plate. But again, you have only just a few millimeters of space behind the motherboard tray, so really you're not going to fit much back here. If you do get this case, you might want to get a power supply that has flat, flexible leads like these, so you can route them rather easily. But you know what? You can route cables just about anywhere with very limited space, and you know, like I've said before in other videos, if you do add more space here behind the motherboard tray, then the case is going to be a little bit wider, and that makes the case, you know, look bigger and so on and so forth. But I think a couple other millimeters back here would have been ideal. At the bottom are 4 plastic feet. These are rather tall, so it will keep the case up off of a soft surface quite nicely. As well, you've got a power supply filter here on the bottom. This can be easily removed, cleaned, and put back. Now, when it comes to features, this is a pretty basic case. It does have all the features, though, you should be looking for in a mid-tower case. But again, it's got nothing in it that's really going to stand out, and it's completely different from everything else that is out there when it comes to features. However, colors, yes. A lot of cases just come in black or white or whatever, some other color. Some cases just come in one color. This one comes in a variety of colors. So if you like color, if maybe you like your case to be really snappy looking, you can do it with this case, and then you can theme the rest of the case out, you know, with the colors that you really like. I think the combination of being cheap, you know, it has pretty much everything that you need, you know, for most people. Color options, and it is super lightweight. I think that's going to be a deadly combination, and these cases would probably sell very, very well for that, because let's face it, in this economy, a lot of people are on a budget. Now, personally, if I was getting this case, I'd probably go for a black-black combination. I tend to like black cases. However, I've seen so many white cases and white products these days that, well, they're growing on me. Overall, though, this is a great case. Until next time, take care.